This is the ZNS Network, providing radio and high-definition television services for the entire Bahamas. ZNS Network is operated by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. It is located at Harcourt Rusty Bethel Drive, Centerville, Nassau. Our programming is designed to inform, educate, and entertain. We invite you to join us.
The following is the preamble of the Constitution of the Bahamas, which was made on June 20th, 1973, and came into operation July 10th, 1973.
Whereas 481 years ago, the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks and keys, heralded the rebirth of the New World. And whereas the people of this family of islands, recognizing that the preservation of their freedom will be guaranteed by a national commitment to self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law. Now, know we therefore, we the inheritors of and successors to this family of islands, recognizing the supremacy of God and believing in the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, do hereby proclaim in solemn praise the establishment of a free and democratic sovereign nation, founded on spiritual values, and in which no man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone, or their labor exploited, or their lives frustrated by deprivation, and do hereby provide by these articles for the indivisible unity and creation under God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
What the WHO makes of curfews and lockdowns, the latest on the government's plan to return Bahamians stuck abroad back home, and COVID-19 and the flu. Good morning, everyone. I'm Makush Lopinder, and this is your morning edition. Well, the World Health Organization director is using every opportunity to re-emphasize that easing restriction is not the end of the virus in any country, but rather countries must ensure they can detect, test, isolate and care for every case and trace every contact. Here at home, another 4 people were added to the confirmed COVID-19 cases, putting the total as of Monday afternoon to 64. Those in quarantine at 651, recovered at 11, and deaths at 9. Good news comes in the form of global funding. Saturday's One World Together at Home concert raised more than $127 million to support several organizations responding to COVID-19, including $55 million for the WHO's Solidarity Response Fund. Well, as usual, this morning, our Lloyd Allen spoke with Health Minister, the Honorable Dr. Dwayne Sands. One of the issues he addressed is how COVID-19 compares to the seasonal flu.
You've asked a very, very important and challenging question. Unfortunately, the world now looks at every cough, cold, sniffle, sneeze as COVID. And it's a requirement now in this new dispensation, which is only about 3 months or 4 months old. If you look at the flu worldwide, we have seen as many people die of influenza this year that have died from COVID-19. And so the problem is real. We try to make a determination for people that present with severe acute respiratory infections to determine whether they have influenza A, influenza B, another problem called respiratory syncytial virus, or COVID-19. And sometimes that can be a very, very daunting challenge to determine which is it.
Now, looking back, many locals have shared personal testimonies of overcoming extreme symptoms of the flu in late 2019. Is it possible that COVID-19 could have affected persons before December 31st announcement, particularly those who are asymptomatic?
The first report of COVID-19 was made by the Chinese practitioners in Wuhan to their Centers for Disease Control. That took place December 31st, 2019. Whether COVID had been circulating a day before, a week before, a month before, time will tell. I am not terribly certain that it makes a whole lot of difference at this point. What's important is that we respond appropriately, and we can leave the Monday morning quarterback activity to the end of the game. Right now, we have a pressing, serious challenge.
Now, we heard a few days ago that several ideas were on the table to target non-compliant persons in quarantine. Are there any updates?
We continue to get proposals from different vendors. We have looked at them. Some of them are pretty reasonable, but they don't have the fail-safe mechanisms. You see, one of the challenges is that if somebody is inclined not to follow quarantine, then what's the likelihood that they're going to carry their phone or wear a watch or something that can be removed? And so we have to deal with human behavior or our perception of human behavior, even if this is a situation where, as will likely be the case, the innocent suffer for the guilty. Because the overwhelming majority of people abide by the rules. It is those that don't abide by the rules, and we don't know who they are when we see them at first. So we have to come up with a solution that is appropriate for all, even understanding that it can be an insult or an affront to those who would ordinarily abide by the rules.
The government running into a challenge trying to bring Bahamians stuck abroad back home amid the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Prime Minister, some of them are not taking the matter seriously.
If we were to bring such individuals home at this particular time, we would have to find a specific location for complete quarantine without allowing them to move about for at least 14 days. At this point in time, we cannot accommodate those individuals. So we have advised them repeatedly that they should listen to the health professionals in that particular jurisdiction and follow the advice and the recommendations given by the health professionals.
Meantime, efforts underway to reduce the country's food bill by millions of dollars. Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honourable Michael Pintard, says his ministry is monitoring global developments with a view to exploring creative avenues in the agricultural sector. This will allow the Bahamas to become less reliant on imported products.
We have worked with several international agencies to conduct studies on the Bahamian agriculture and marine resources sector. Among the things we have studied is what crops, processed foods, livestock, plants, ornamental plants are we able to produce cost effectively to compete with what is coming in. And we've identified those items. And we believe that we are able to save somewhere in the vicinity of 189 to 200 million US dollars per year, which would be a substantial savings on what is presently now a 600 million US dollars plus food bill.
Our egg production market remains untapped, but plans are underway to spark some changes.
We're also importing layers, chicks that will go on to provide eggs. We believe that the Bahamas has the capacity in less than the 36 months to be self-sufficient in egg production. And so we want to support the businesses that are here already in ramping up their production.
Well, coming up in the morning edition, we speak with Catholic officials on the way forward for education under COVID-19. You're watching the morning edition. Stay with us.
COVID-19 continues to impact the Bahamas and the world.
The Ministry of Health has confirmed 5 cases of COVID-19 in the Bahamas.
ZNS Network is here to keep you informed on this growing pandemic.
We are in a race against time.
With team coverage, hourly updates, news, and special reports with information that is important to you. ZNS Network is your best choice for COVID-19 coverage. No other station covers the Bahamas better.
We play just like your kids. We text just like your kids. We learn. We even cook. We take selfies. We have hobbies. And we love sports. In every way, we are just like everyone else and enjoy the same things and live our lives every day, just like you do. So if you happen to meet us, treat us just like everyone else. Because at the end of the day, we're just like you. Living life with Down syndrome is simply living. To learn more about Down syndrome, call 727-2105. This message is brought to you by the Grand Bahama Down Syndrome Society.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Let's stay COVID-free. Remember the 3 S's. Sanitize, social distance, and stay inside.
As an artist, I travel all over the world, and I find inspiration all around me. In the people, and especially the environment. I love the Bahamas with all its natural beauty. From Abaco in the north to Inagua in the south, and all the wonderful and colorful islands in between. But we must all do our part to keep the Bahamas healthy and clean, now and for the future generations. That's why I want you to find a little time to do your part. I'm doing my part because I care. Do you?
But you will know that you're opening the door to many changes. Among them, of course, the traditional way subjects are taught to ensure it gets the maximum results and also to maintain some sense of normalcy during this difficult time. The Ministry of Education has launched virtual classes. Now, this morning, we speak with Catholic Archbishop Patrick Pinder and Director of Catholic Education, Claudette Rowe. Archbishop Pinder, Ms. Rowe, welcome to the morning edition.
Good morning, Makishla.
Well, the obvious question is, what's the way forward for those schools that fall under the purview of the Catholic Board? That's St. Cecilia, St. Thomas More, Mary Star of the Sea, Xavier, St. Francis, and Joseph Catholic primary schools, along with Aquinas College for those who are not aware. And how difficult has it been making the transition?
Well, first of all, let me just say that with respect to all the schools related to the Archdiocese, which also includes St. Augustine's College, I just wanted to indicate that while we are currently in this global pandemic, which first and foremost is a public health crisis, it has brought on an economic crisis as well. But fundamentally, really it involves the lives of persons, and it affects persons, and we have to keep that first and foremost in our minds. And the Archdiocese and all its endeavors seeking to respond to that keeps that in its minds. And so our response is one which tries to avoid things like layoffs. Our resources are not inexhaustible by any means, and so as we move further and further into this crisis, there will be sacrifices made. But the important thing for us to do is to ensure all those involved in any of our endeavors, whether it be our central administrative offices, our chantry office, or our schools, we wish them all to know that the Archdiocese certainly stands to accompany you through this crisis and not to part company from you in the crisis. That is not an easy position to take, but we believe it is the right one to do what is done. With respect to the details of the school, I'll let our Director of Education speak to that.
Well, good morning, Ms. Rowe. What changes have the Catholic Board of Education has had to make in light of COVID-19?
Well, there's so many changes, but the main changes are that, first of all, our students are learning in place or learning from home. And so we have had to make sure that there was the internet capability. We also had to do the survey to make sure that all of our students had the devices. And where that was not able to happen, we had to end up doing hard copy packets or learning packets, as we call them, for most of our parents. And of course, we had to get our teachers familiar with the various platforms that they can use for remote learning.
Now, what about those students who have never been as quick a learner as their classmates? What's the assurance there to keep them at pace with virtual learning?
Well, what we've done is the guidance counselors are working with them, and we also have teachers in daily contact with them. We said that in some instances, we're going to have to go old school, as we call it, where we are connecting with them either with a landline or by telephone. And so that has really helped with the guidance counselors and the administrators and teachers reaching out to them.
Now, I know you can't accept that there's a fear from parents that, they may have a child that may not graduate, move on to the next grade because of COVID-19, because of the struggle with the virtual learning. What assurance can you give to parents that is there going to be an end-of-year examination? And in that case, what format will that take?
Well, we really have not determined that. We're still waiting for some dates from Ministry of Education, but we're going to have various forms of assessment, and we feel that our students had already been into basically the second or third week of the third term. And so they've already covered more than 2/3 of the year. And what we're doing now to support them, we know that most of them will be ready for the next academic year. And so we're going to give a level of comfort to the parents by continuously communicating with them and assuring them that we will make sure that they're ready for the next year and can be matriculated successfully to the next grade. That is provided, of course, they do what we're asking them to do at this period.
Now, I know the Archbishop noted that there have been challenges getting to this point, but, they're trying to keep things intact in terms of, staving off layoffs and things of that sort. Speak to us more about the challenges you've encountered getting to this point.
Well, the main challenge really is we have to make fees are perhaps one of the greatest sources of funding for us in terms of assisting us with salaries. And so if we have to make some adjustments, we're going to have to look at cutting in other areas. Thankfully, we will not have that great cost for maintenance at this juncture. And so there are some things that we know that we can do to stave it off. But the most difficult challenge for us right now is not having any funding from school fees. But we know that we make some adjustments in other areas to be able to mitigate that.
Do you anticipate that later on you may lose some students because of this in terms of their parents opting to at least, put them in public schools or cheaper schools, anything of that sort?
We anticipate an attrition because so many parents are not working, and we anticipate that. We are willing to work with parents. We have payment plans that can certainly assist parents if they want to continue keeping their children in the private school or in the Catholic school system. However, we understand that there are other priorities that a household has as well. And so the focus is going to have to be on maintaining or meeting those basic needs, and then we will work with them to see how best we can serve them, knowing that what their employment circumstances are.
Well, once again, that was Director of the Catholic Board of Education, Claudette Roll, as well as Archbishop of the Catholic Church, Patrick Pinder, joining us this morning on the Morning Edition. Stay with us.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, your hottest place on the planet for rims, tints, tires, and auto sales. We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Lights, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king. Blessed luck.
The Ministry of Health wishes to advise members of the public that prevention is key during this flu season. Practicing good cough hygiene can make the difference between you and your loved ones getting the flu or spreading the influenza virus. Good cough hygiene habits include covering your mouth and nose with a tissue when coughing or sneezing, and proper disposal of the tissue in a trash bin. Coughing or sneezing into your upper sleeve near your inner elbow and not your hands when a tissue is not available. Avoiding the use of handkerchiefs and towels as they hold germs, becoming a nest for the virus. And frequently washing your hands with soap and water, which is listed as one of the most important steps you can take to avoid getting sick and passing the virus on to others. If you have any questions about how to practice good cough hygiene to avoid catching or spreading the flu, contact your nearest community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Nature-based tourism supplies almost $50 million in revenue for Androsians every year. These priceless resources will continue to provide renewable benefits for thousands of people for years to come, as long as we take long-term action to preserve what's rightfully ours. The natural environment has played a vital role in our culture and economy for generations. Let's take care of nature, and nature will take care of us.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but not for vacation. The global pandemic, COVID-19, continues to spread worldwide. Here's what you can do to keep yourself safe. If you have a headache, runny nose, sneeze, or cough, stay at home until you feel better. When you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth or nose with a bent elbow and dispose of the used tissue immediately. If symptoms persist, call the COVID-19 hotline at 376-9350 or 376-9387. Remember, it's safer and smarter.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. Well, many, if not all of you, are familiar with the adage, it takes a village. No truer words are there. If the Bahamas is to truly dig itself out of the economic black hole COVID-19 has thrown it in. Simply put, it's getting back to what Fidelity's Chief Financial Officer Gowan Bo calls the ASU mentality, or a collective investment program.
But it was effectively the village coming together and saying, well, how do we pool resources to ensure that each member of the village was able to achieve their goals and objectives and their initiatives. So that means there are going to be some businesses and persons who will rebound early on by contributions of those who have resources behind them, who are willing to wait until the end to have those same, if you will, benefits come back to them based on what they've sowed in the beginning.
Well, now, as Bo explains, there will be some businesses that rebound faster. As in the case of an ASU, those that do participate must remain committed to the end. This also means identifying those businesses that will be able to employ people from the beginning.
That is going to mean thinking about retraining your mind and retraining yourself to adapt to those jobs and opportunities that will present themselves in the initial phases. Ultimately, it is not looking to restore your normal life, if you will, to the days that you experienced pre-COVID and even pre-recession in 2008, but trying to understand that how is it that I create a base level that is dignified and allows me to be moderately comfortable, and so that I am able to, if you will, place my resources in income-producing activities, which will allow the self-perpetuating cycle, that if I invest and I as a consumer consume, that will give the opportunity for businesses to operate. It will give the opportunity for businesses to employ people, which will give salaries and incomes, which will then create opportunities for savings to invest, and also opportunities for that same consumption to grow businesses.
Well, the Department of Social Services seeing an uptick in clients. This sparked by the mass layoffs in the hotel sector. Chief Welfare Officer Ida Walk says the agency has created protocols they must follow to verify clients' needs.
You can't just issue a coupon because a person may have gotten a coupon from another center. They may have been in last week and gotten a coupon. A coupon is only issued, really, the emergency food assistance is once every 2 to 3 months, but because it's not a program. But because of what is the crisis that is going on right now, the coupons are issued to the clients once each month. With the crisis that the country is going through, there have been persons who've been informed that staff work until 1. But some of us, we stay until up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon trying to get those out, get those applications filled. And some of the persons, some of the clients would be asked to come back the following morning to collect their coupon.
COVID-19 curfew orders leading to significantly reduced hours for service stations. Such businesses are now operating until 1 p.m. daily, the time fueling concerns for dealers. Here's Treasurer of the Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Association, Ozzie Moore, on the issue.
A number of retailers do feel that the time should be extended not only to 5 o'clock but even to 7 o'clock, because that way they're running 2 shifts as opposed to 3 shifts, which most of them are used to running, and that would help them to keep more employees on staff. Now, my real position on it is that if the experts feel that that is necessary in order to get over this crisis quickly, then that is the way to go. And for what we do, we allow to put on some extra staff on the short shift. That will give you extra persons to serve the public. Also to make sure social distancing is maintained and make sure we clean down and sanitize everything on a regular basis.
Now, Moore also spoke to the gas level in stock and its capacity standing.
We don't know. Usually the wholesalers order enough product to last anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, and then they would have another shipment come in. Now, with the current situation where there's less traffic on the road and less product being sold, it is possible that the shipment that they have will last longer than normal.
In addition, stay with us. There's more after the break.
What I love
love most about working for the Bahamas tonight is that we don't only focus on New Providence. We cover the entire Bahamas. We have a team here in the northern Bahamas that is ready to bring you the stories, the people, and the news that matter to you. From point A to Z, and covering hurricanes to elections and everything in between.
Hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver, which is the organ responsible for filtering toxins from the body, producing bile for digestion, and producing proteins and clotting factors. The most important cause of hepatitis worldwide is viruses, of which there are 5 main types: A, B, C, D, and E. Hepatitis B and C are major health challenges globally, affecting over 300 million persons worldwide. The suspicion of hepatitis may be a challenge, as there are typically no symptoms. However, if infected, non-specific symptoms may include decreased appetite, nausea, vague abdominal discomfort, jaundice or yellow eyes, and abnormal liver function tests. If not treated, hepatitis of any type can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer, which leads to over 1 million deaths worldwide. If you suspect you may have been exposed to the virus that causes hepatitis, talk to your doctor today and get tested.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority in conjunction with the Medical Association of the Bahamas and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
The ZNS community page now has its own home on Channel 230. Be sure to tune into this channel to see informative notices, funeral announcements, birthday greetings, and much, much more. So watch the ZNS community channel today on Cable 230.
The natural resources of the Bahamas play a critical role in supporting Bahamian livelihoods. For example, the fishing and tourism industry, which include fishermen, seafood exporters, hoteliers, dive operators, restaurants, and others. Collectively, they generate approximately $1.5 billion a year. Therefore, we must respect and preserve what we have. These resources belong to us.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
So let's all do our part to maintain our local economy and a good quality of life. Remember, if we take care of nature, nature will take care of us.
Welcome back. Family Island residents continuing to cope with the emergency orders in place. This morning, Charles Fisher has the views of residents on the measures.
Some are wishing right now they could just jet off to a family island and relax and enjoy the nice sea breeze at this time. But with travel restrictions in place, that's a no-no. Over in Eleuthera, Dana Johnson from Gregory Town indicating that they have been following all the protocols put in place.
We're here in Eleuthera adhering to all the social distancing, washing our hands, and doing the necessary precautions in Eleuthera. Thankfully that we didn't have any cases as yet in Eleuthera, and we adhered to all the necessary precautions that the doctors them in Nassau had said to the islands to be safe.
Johnson also safe with the social distancing measures in place, but wants more freedom.
We're asking now, since there hasn't been any cases in Eleuthera, we're asking that if they can let our stores be open and we can go back to some normal living, being that we can be out in the days, keeping the social distancing, continue to wear our masks, and also we're asking if at least we can go in at 9 and come out at 5 a.m. in the morning, but open us up in order for us to make revenue, in order for funds to continue to generate throughout the Bahamas.
Earlier this week, some restrictions were eased up, like construction on the family islands. Harbour Island Wanda Higgs with mixed feelings on that.
I would take caution and also remind the government that no, we are not COVID positive, and we would like to remain that way. So opening up the borders to all construction workers, including my neighboring island, Eleuthera, Spanish Wells, Current, way up to Deep Creek. I would say let's pull back. Let's take one step, put one foot in the front of the other. That's my thought on this. I know that everyone needs work. I need work. I'm a single mom. But safety, to me, always matters.
And with this extra time, Higgs feels it's time to do other things.
We can use this time to resort back to farming, fishing, spending time with the family. I appreciate the government for doing online virtual learning to keep the kids occupied and parents at home. We have to remember, even though this is not a normal thing and something that we are used to being indoors, we must remember that safety matters.
Wishing I could be on the family island as well. For the Morning Edition, I'm Charles Fisher.
Well, meantime, some 20 convalescents at Unity House on East Street. Daily care remains a challenge as caretakers struggle with uncertainty. With increased emergency orders restricting people's movements, Unity House owner Reverend Janet Butler says in the midst of the pandemic, bills, health concerns and staffing are stretched as the facility pushes to care for its residents.
I don't think none of us were prepared like how we be prepared during for hurricane. It's a panic attack, but now this is something that everybody have to deep into their pockets and provide for themselves and to provide for them. I was hoping that the government would have come up with something to put in place to say, well, let me pack, even with the gowns and the gloves and the masks. I called yesterday for me even to buy a pack of gowns from Lowe's. I couldn't buy it because it was not going off the island. So therefore, I had to just try hard and work my way around to see how I can get gowns for the staff them to change. Then people had to contribute for masks.
Well, Butler says as she has attempted to get supplies for the pantry at the facility, she's been discouraged from waiting as a result of lines everywhere. Additionally, staff availability is low as she has had to send 2 employees home whom she suspected showed symptoms of the virus. This, she says, has put a further strain on operations.
I let them take their temperature, and it was a little over 90, 96, 97. Somewhere around there. I tell them go to the clinic. They went to the clinic, and I let them stay home. They have to stay home. So that means I still have to come in here juggle with the staff who's here and still try to help to maintain some of the people. As you hear the old lady out there break out. Only for her now to put on the mask, I have to go to her, rub her down and tell her it's good to wear because these people are not used to these things. And then keeping them informed. People might say why they're out here so they can catch some fresh air and some God-given air and a little bit of sun on their body.
Now, Butler says convincing seniors to wear masks is a challenge, and she feels at this time it may be a matter of time before things get worse. Some good news, however, on the way this week as the Prime Minister has allowed increased testing for additional people, and that includes personnel at nursing homes. Well, aside from police assuring that curfews, lockdowns and emergency orders that are adhered to, homicide detectives were on the ground last evening investigating a fatal shooting on Hillary Avenue over in Grand Bahama. From all reports, the victim was standing in front of a home in that area when he was shot multiple times by the occupant of a passing vehicle. The wounded man was rushed to the Rand Memorial Hospital, where he died soon after. Investigations are active. Meantime, more changes to the top brass of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and that in the form of promotions. Making the cut, former Grand Bahama Police Press Liaison Chief Superintendent Loretta Mackey has been appointed Assistant Commissioner of Police, and so has former officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Solomon Cash, and former officer in charge of the Police Traffic Division, Craig Stubbs. Now, this while Chief Superintendent Kirkwood Andrews will serve as Acting Assistant Commissioner. Now to our pastoral motivation today with Pastor Simeon Ouden out of Grand Bahama.
Hello, my brothers and sisters, Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I greet you in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I want to leave this thought with you as you go through the week. We're coming out of this. And that is the thought I want you to declare, that we are coming out of this. And it was Job who made a profound declaration. Though you slay me, I'm going to trust you. And because Job was bold enough to make the declaration, God brought him out. And so, Bahamas, I want to encourage you to lift up your heads to the rising sun and know that this God that we are serving is going to bring us through this terrible time that we are in now. Why? Because goodness and mercy is on our side. Don't be discouraged, but I want to encourage you to continue to declare that I'm coming out of this, that we are coming out of this. God brought Daniel out of the lion's den, and I know he's going to bring us through because he's watching over his word to perform it. So tell a neighbor this week, tell a friend this week, tell those that you work with this week, we are coming out this. Father, be glorified. I pray a blessing over this country, over our nation, over our brothers and our sisters. May you surround us this day and forevermore with your grace. Through Jesus Christ our King. Amen.
Did you know that there are over 30,000 Bahamians with diabetes and another 23,000 with prediabetes? Each year, this number is expected to increase. Many people who have diabetes are unaware. If you are having blurry vision, feeling thirsty, urinating frequently, or are unusually tired or losing weight despite a healthy diet, you may have diabetes. If you have a parent or sibling that has diabetes, you are also at an increased risk of developing diabetes. If you have noticed any of these symptoms, it is important to see your doctor, who will perform the necessary tests to confirm the diagnosis. Together, we can beat diabetes.
Shepherd, a reporter here at the ZNS Northern Service. Did you know that ZNS is right at your fingertips when you download the new ZNS app? Missed something in our newscast? That's okay. Simply pull up the app, swipe, and you'll find all of our news headlines and highlights. So what are you waiting for? Download the new ZNS app today.
From early this morning, traffic was building up in the vicinity of the Tony Williams-Darling Highway as hotel workers returned for a second day to collect those vouchers being distributed by the union. We understand a drive-through system is expected, is being implemented, impacting the traffic movement. Lloyd Allen is in the area.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Yes, good morning, Macushla. Good morning, Bahamas. This morning, we're located just east of Workers' House. And yesterday, as we all are aware, it was a madhouse where more than 1,000 persons would have shown up in hopes of getting their hands on some vouchers being given by Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union. Now, in the midst of their needs, social distancing not being represented yesterday, but today, a new order of operation. I'm being joined this morning by Inspector M. Berkeley Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force, who's going to talk to us about how that setup is working. Good morning, Officer Johnson, and tell us, how's your setup working this morning?
Very pleasant. Good morning, Bahamas. Yesterday, we realized that we had a crowd of persons out here who were dissatisfied with the operation and how today business would have been put in place. So this morning, we were out here early to take on this task. This morning, we anticipated to have some 1,600 persons out here this morning. So what we decided to do is to implement the drive-through that will be able to assist these persons and to ensure that they were to abide by the COVID-19 law. So they are wearing their masks as they were to come up to the counter and present their IDs and so forth. But if you were to just look behind me below the hill, you will see where we have a vacant lot there. We have persons that once you see on top of the hill where they get crowded, we will have persons as they were to come off the main Tonic-Darling Highway. They will go into that lot where we have some chairs allocated as a form of a semicircle. And then if it would have come to a point where persons were to enter onto the main Tonic-Darling Highway, we have another property next door. We are just trying to see if we could eliminate persons from causing traffic congestion on the Tonic-Darling Highway. We also have a plan C that if we were to get to another point where we would have it set forth, where we would have an officer stationary in the middle of the Milo Butler Highway, and having persons they would have traveled south onto Milo Butler Highway and go around the roundabout and occupy that whole left side of Milo Butler Highway that will bring you up here to the start point. So we just want to make sure that what happened yesterday, that it does not occur today. We want to make sure that everybody get what they are entitled to and that they be at ease and they come to collect their voucher and not come out here to collect the coronavirus.
Now, some great information there, of course, Inspector Johnson. Just one follow-up question. Yesterday, of course, as you alluded, many persons are not recognizing social distancing. Today, that's not even a concern. There's a designated wait area, so persons don't have to congregate. They can stay inside their vehicles as these lines move smoothly. 1,600 persons expected to come out here today as well. How long will your officers be out today to enforce this setup remains intact?
Well, the officers are here to cater to the Bahamian people, and as long as these persons are going to be issued with their voucher and so forth, the police is going to remain here to ensure that these people would get what they are entitled to and that they would feel comfortable and be in a safe environment, which is their vehicle. There will be more than 6 feet within their social distance feet.
Well, some great information and updates there coming in from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And of course, if you are on the streets and you do happen to traverse this Tonic-Darling's area, of course, you shouldn't have any reason for fear, as police have ensured that it's much different from it was yesterday. Traffic is flowing on the way here. There was literally no backups, and so you should be able to access your destination smoothly, safely, and on time. Reporting from the area of Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway, Lloyd Allen for the morning edition. Makushla, back to you in studio.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. It's now time for your exercise segment, and for that, Natasha Brown has a special workout session for children.
Good morning. Where are my student athletes? Where are my children? Because it's all about you this morning. The only thing you're going to be needing is a pair of your socks. Yes, a pair of your socks. Because what I've got planned for us today, we're going to continue some things that we may have been doing in a lot of our PE classes, and a lot of athletes, a lot of the baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever sport you play. This is going to help you to maintain your throwing and, of course, your strength and conditioning. So let's get right into it. Make sure your area is sanitized, and if you are going to use a couple of you, make sure you are practicing social distancing. Let's go ahead and get started with our stretches and move right into the routine. Start off with your feet together and place your toes, your hands right on top of the toes. Make sure your back is straight and hold it. Try not to run back nice and straight. Great, just raise up. Take the right hand across the chest. Open up. Take the left hand now. Great. Take the right hand and take it over so we can get our tricep. Make sure you keep your posture erect, right up the front over, but make sure the elbow is all the way to the roof. Let's switch. And go ahead and take it here. Okay, let's just get a little yoga in. Take it into child's pose. Then back into the stretch and extend the hands forward. Now take the right hand underneath. You want to make sure you warm up your arms because we've got some throwing exercises we're doing this morning. Switch. Always important. Great. Final exercise. Take the right foot forward. If you're able to, bring the heel of the opposite leg forward, right to the butt. Then switch. Take the right foot forward. Push through the hips so that you warm up your hip flexors and the groin area. Now go ahead and bring the opposite heel to the back. If you're stronger, when you can hold yourself up, bring it so that you can get the most out of the stretching. So now we are ready. Okay. So with the sock, make sure you've got a good area where you're able to throw the ball. You have nothing in your way to cause any injury. So just to warm up, we're going to step into the throw. And again, you really want to be as explosive as you can. Ready? 3. Let's get 2 more in. That's 4. Last one. Step into it and throw. Awesome. Okay. Let's do the same to the left arm. Step and throw. Step into it. Throw. Step. There you go. Really, really follow through. Last one. Step. Really through. Now, let's add some conditioning with it. So as you shuffle, step, throw. Great. Shuffle here, shuffle back, 4 step, throw into it. Shuffle here. Last one, step, throw. Now let's do it to the opposite side. Step here, step, throw. Let's go ahead and shuffle. Here, step, throw. Great. Head. Step. Throw. There you go. Last time. Bring it in. There you go. Hi, I am downtown Natasha Brown, and welcome to The Ultimate You.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but we are not on vacation. Remember to stay at home to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Social distancing is very important. Remember, it's safer and smarter.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Hey, y'all, what's up?
Hey, what's that?
What y'all getting?
Listen, I've been waiting to march down some lobster, yeah? Hi, I'm Matthew. I will be you guys waiter today. Can I take your order?
Oh, I've been jonesing for some grouper dread.
Y'all see this?
See, this ain't gonna work. Where the fish gone, though?
But how, though?
Don't leave our children with no fish in their future. Protect our sea. Protect our way of life. Protect the Bahamas. To learn how you can help, find us on Facebook at Bahamas Protected. See the future.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
Well, weather-wise, a prefrontal activity associated with a cold front that's moving across the northwest Bahamas will support pockets of unsettled weather today. Mariners and residents should be alert for possible waterspout or tornadic activity in the northwest Bahamas. In the northwest Bahamas, cloudy, breezy and humid with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the vicinity of the frontal boundary. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Elsewhere, partly cloudy, very warm and humid with widely scattered showers. Small craft caution is in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas and showers and thunderstorms. In the central and southeast Bahamas, the weather's partly sunny, very warm and humid with isolated showers today, mainly in the central Bahamas, becoming partly cloudy and humid with widely scattered showers later today. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Tuesday's high temperature, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 30 degrees Celsius. And there's an overnight low temperature of 73 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees Celsius. Now to our home videos of the day. Well, just a reminder, keep those videos and pictures coming in on how you're passing the time in the government-imposed lockdown, or if you want to salute those on the front line, the number 477-0546. And remember to stay tuned to the ZNS Network, your best choice for local, regional, and international COVID-19 coverage. They're the only station providing you with live radio and television updates throughout the day, giving you up-to-the-minute information. Our coverage continues at 10 on radio and then on the television network. Good morning, everyone.
They who reach the top, boy, must first climb the hill. Standing at the foot, boy, gazing at the skies. How do you get the boy if you never try? Though you stumble off, boy, don't be downcast. Try and try again, boy. You'll succeed at last. Don't be a rude boy. Won't help in.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Hello and welcome to the start of the second season of My Child and I, where we get together every week to look at how can we better raise this region's children. And during our season break, we heard from some parents via the Facebook and on the website, and it's clear that it's time to talk about our children. In this first episode, we're going to look at something that has become a difficulty for parents and children, and that's the transition from primary to secondary school. So stay with us. My Child and I continues in a moment.
You wouldn't drive a car with only 3 wheels, nor would you build your house on shaky ground. Then let's